Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Maximus Black.
And Nova War.
And we're bringing you guys When Cheese Fails, Season 2, Episode 9,
The Season of Great Escapes!
Yes, and let me start this game, and let's introduce the player, shall we?
Hit me up with that noise. Great. These are very complicated names, by the way. I'm not entirely sure I can pronounce these.
Aaron and Joe. Went to school with both of those guys.
Really?
Good guys.
Yeah.
Great guys.
They were, actually.
Awesome. So yeah, this is going to be a PVT, and yeah, so like I said, this is When Cheese Fails, Season 2, Episode 9. We are only, one episode away from the season finale.
Exactly.
It's gonna be a doozy.
Did you just really use the word doozy?
I definitely
It is
did.
No wonder people think I'm black and you're white.
Yep. Great.
I'm starting to see why that might happen.
Hey, my
now.
mom's white and she raised me proper.
With doozy.
For sure.
Alright, so we are seeing right now that it might be the Terran for once. Mr. Aaron doing the cheesing. He is hiding an SCV right now. Too early to tell, but it could entirely be something like a proxy barracks would probably what would happen there.
Yeah.
And he is putting up his supply depot, so it's probably going to happen. We haven't seen the Protoss push out yet with the probe, which means he's definitely not the one doing the cheesing. And so this is going to be kind of interesting. You see, people use that area up there in the top of the base quite often for cheeses like this because it gets right out of vision, just perfectly out of vision for the openings, like that right there. It's just this one little area that you never really scout, and that's why it usually works, or at least does a decent job.
Lesson of the day is scout that area, no
Always.
matter what. Just put a probe up there. Just see if somebody's doing something nasty, and it could definitely save the game. But here we go, Joe, doing your typical open. Got the 13 gateway, now chronoing up some more probes, and I would assume he is going to get a Cybernetics core immediately following that gateway finishing. He is getting his 16 pylon. Very, very typical Protoss play, and usually this will be a 3-gate robo or a 4-gate.
Oh yeah, well, it could be almost anything, because I think the opening is almost the exact same for every standard build for Protoss, but he does have his probe up here. He's going to find out that there is almost a wall being complete here, so he might not be suspecting any cheese after he sees that, which will be possibly detrimental to him. Something I want to note is that when he did send that scout out, if you're on this map, or any other map where there is, hidden parts of your base, check the towers on the way up, but 2, just shift-click around the perimeter of your base before you make your probe or worker leave your base to do your scouting, and that way you make sure you at least get in there and see if there's any cheese being done.
Couple of quick things I want to add in here before the action takes way. Adam is absolutely correct. Do your scouting around there. Check this area.
Yeah.
Also check this damn area, because this place right here is the devil itself.
That is
trees. These trees right here is the fiery gates of hell, and as soon as you walk past those, usually there's some shit in there that you don't want to see. But like Adam said, this is one thing that smart cheesers will do. Is they'll make this illusion like they're playing normally at their base by sacrificing 150 minerals, and that sacrifice is a very good one to make, because if a probe goes up there and sees that all you have is a wall of supply depots, they usually know something fishy is happening. And finally, Joe, seeing Aaron with the man, those names suck. Seeing that Aaron is in here doing some harassing damage, the cheese is now wide open. I smell provolone. Can we get some Swiss, baby?
You can smell provolone, can you?
Yes.
That's impressive. You know what? Right now, I'm seeing Joe's macro is not top-notch right now. Even before he noticed the cheese is there and he was under pressure, he was slipping a little bit. It does look like he was saving up for his 4-gate, but his warp gate is far from being done, his research. And so, something that you just want to be careful of, if this is a lower-level game, which I'm assuming it is a fairly low-level game, is, the easiest way to do it. Don't maybe not memorize build orders and stuff so much, because that can be confusing. Just make sure you're always spending money.
Absolutely.
You don't have to master things, but if you can always be spending money, you'll get your speed up that way, and then worry about getting your build orders exactly correct. If you can do the first few buildings correct in your build order, then from that point on, if you just want to have fun, just always be spending money.
Yes, and Joe absolutely is supply blocked right now. He is hurting himself. This is not good. This is making his life a hell of a lot harder he just got his warp up, and he's going to quickly realize, oh shit, I'm supply blocked. Now I need to build some pylons. He's now 25 out of 26. There they go now. He does have all this money. Go outside your base, get an expansion up. If you have the cash, go up there and start up another base. Don't make this a write-off. Always protect this like it's your final, stand. But, keep your enemy occupied while you go out and start a new base, or start taking up the Dark Temp, or maybe getting out that Void Ray, or something that you can do to go and counter. A lot of the time is people on the defense will try too hard at stopping this, and next thing you know it, the disadvantage that a cheeser gets from cheesing then becomes an advantage because he has no harassment or anything coming at his base, and next thing you know it, he's actually ahead of you instead of behind you.
No, and you know what? Aaron is definitely risking that exact thing right now. He is going Sim City up in his base, but he hasn't gotten any gas yet. He's just now building his first couple of refineries. That's going to put him far behind, because as you're seeing, we already have Warp Gate technology up, and so Joe is already ahead of the game. He's got his expansion now going up, which is great. He has stalkers. He should be focusing on getting rid of the cheese in his base at this point, or at least keeping it there. Yep. He can't attack anything else from that point, so as long as he can keep him away long enough to get his economy up and build maybe the rest of his base out by his expansion, he's fine, perfectly fine. Aaron, on the other hand, shit in the bed all over the place. He's, he had a good opening cheese because he had the time before Joe recognized it was there, but he's not utilizing it properly. He's got all these Marines in these bunkers. What he should be doing is getting out, running in, doing some damage, forcing the guys to come after him, running back into the bunkers, and keep doing that over and over again. And eventually, you can do enough damage to take buildings out and stuff. But right now, if you don't have the micro skills to be doing that and keeping up back at base, drop what you're doing here, lift your barracks up, get the heck out, do what damage you can with those units, get those bunkers back in terms of minerals,
salvage,
thank you, that's the word I'm looking for, and go back to base and hope for the best, because you need to get out of there.
Absolutely, and I mean, it's easy for us to say this is what you got to do. When you're in the middle of the game, it's very, very difficult. You're tensed up, your APM's not where it's at, or at least in the wrong areas. Your macro is really bad. We've seen Joe slip his macro. His macro is doing much better now that the pressure is starting to be relieved a little bit, but exactly, and Red is doing a good job at getting buildings and doing all these wonderful things, but he's not doing anything with them. He's got all these barracks, all this stuff, and now it looks like Joe finally overpowering Aaron's here.
Don't worry about lifting those up.
Yeah, no big deal. Yeah,
just leave them to burn.
Yeah, and the units that are building inside them, don't cancel those, because 50 minerals is no big deal.
No big deal.
But anyways, he does have all these buildings, but the gas just starting to go up. He should have been using these Marines and Marauders to do some harassment down here. Make these units get away from all this action. Make him dance, and then run down and really piss him off and make him over micro so he's not macroing. And these are the things that you want to do, but I don't know what level this is. I know it's like I said before, it's easy for me to say these things, but there could have been some definite improvements on both ends so far.
Oh, certainly. Joe now is looking like he's going to make a little push here. This is a great move now. Now that the pressure's off of him, go back, put some pressure on the cheeser, because if he hasn't, or if you go up here and you notice he hasn't, and good job by the way checking out all of these towers on the way up. But if you go up here and you don't see an expansion yet, you know that you're probably ahead. And just stay there.
Absolutely.
If you go up the ramp and you just get met, if you meet a force that is up at the top of this ramp right now, which he's going to find out about, just back up and sit there. Maybe put a proxy pylon up there, and just keep building stuff up there and contain him to the point where he's going to be forced to maybe drop ship out or something else. And if you're a really high level player, a lot of times what happens is that they'll maybe put a couple cannons or a couple of stalkers out on the edge on the other side of the base, so that when they do use dropships or get out, sometimes you can catch them and get rid of every unit, walk in and wipe them off.
Absolutely, and here we go. It looks like Aaron is coming out of the base. He did see all of Joe's units, and it looks like he is racing down towards the bottom of the base, and Joe is like, OMG, I need to get back down here ASAP. Thank you.
Charge!
Okay, awesome. And here we go. It looks like we are going to have a battle here, and if Aaron can micro properly, he will be able to win this battle with relative ease here. Joe now forced to back off in a terrible place. Horrible place to warp in units right in front of the line of fire, and now forced to take off all those probes and doing a decent job at kiting.
Back him up.
Yeah, now you're just going to want to run out of there. Too bad he didn't have Stin at this point, because if he had Stin, he really would be able to kite the crap out of those and get out of there safely. One thing that I do want to add is the robotics facility now up for Joe. This is a really good thing. I want to talk about something very quickly when it comes to cheesers, especially Terran cheesers. When you are getting barracked in like that and the Terran is doing a massive amounts of damage, and then you go up and see that there is no expansion there, 9 times out of 10...
He's still doing barrack units.
Yeah, 9 times out of 10. He's still going to be either doing barrack units so you can get out some Colossus and really put on the pressure, or he's going to be going into one cheese, and I know that Banshees aren't considered a cheese, but in a lot of cases they're considered the easy way out.
Yeah.
And a lot of cheesers are all about a fast win, don't want to play too long, let's take the easy way out, how can I beat this guy as fast as possible? So it's either they'll go into one cheese, right into the next. I don't want to call Banshees cheese, but for this specific example, I'm going to call it a cheese, and they'll go in and get those Banshees and try to come in and do damage. It's always good to have that robotics facility up, even just before the mid-game against Terran, because sometimes those Banshees will just ruin your day.
Absolutely. Oh, definitely. You really need to be... You know what? Ideally, Joe should have had a couple of observers up there to see what exactly Joe is Aaron is up to.
Yep.
Because at this point, he doesn't really know. He's seeing all these barracks units, but it could have been something else. Something I want to point out is that Aaron is sitting on a whole lot of gas right now.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely huge amount of gas, and it's because he's continuing to build these barracks units, and you know what? He's got these Marauders coming out, but that's not going to keep your gas down. His minerals are hurting. He needs to be taking guys off of those gas and focusing them on mineral collection if he's going to be doing all this barrack unit building. And he's finding himself way out of balance with his minerals and gas, and that's something you don't want to have happen. On the other end of the spectrum, Joe is having the opposite problem. He is too mineral intensive, and gas is not doing so hot, and that's because he's been largely just pumping out these Colossi now, which are, by the way, I don't know if you know this, but Colossi... pretty good against barracks units.
Pretty damn good, actually. It'll make them nice and toasty.
Yes.
And look at this, 49 probes compared to 27 SCVs. This is going all the way bad for Aaron.
Absolutely. He hasn't. Well, it's what happens to cheesers. They get focused, and there's cloak, but it's not gonna make a difference. There's an observer up here anyway.
Yep.
And you know what?
Oh, and is this a nuke?
No,
okay.
he's just producing
trying to get
his
some
cloak
EMP,
tech.
probably.
No, that's his cloak tech right now for his ghost. So I don't know why he's getting cloak tech first. I don't know. What I do know is that he's losing this game right now.
Yep.
That planetary fortress is going to finish, unfortunately, not in time. Those Colossi are going to be able to keep the DPS up to a point where those SCVs can't do anything about it. They're all dead anyway. And now at this point, all that needs to happen is constant pressure, and or all that has to happen is that Aaron needs to leave the game, and that's what we just saw there.
Yep. That was a lot of cheese. A lot of cheese fail.
Yep.
That was a good game.
Yeah, it was pretty solid. I want to say we're probably going to go back and find out that this might be silver or gold league, and so just put that into context. That's why maybe you saw some macro slips and stuff like that. But yeah, so if you're watching this and you are a lower level player, and obviously some of the things we said in this, you're not going to be able to go out and do, like for instance, force them to use dropships and then catch them off guard on the other side of the base. Like that's something Boxer would do. I mean, you're probably not going to be pulling that off. But that's things to keep in mind, right? So that when you're going down the road, you have some of these tactics, because it's a good thing to do. It'll get you laddering faster. Is what it's going to do.
Just listen to what we said. Take into consideration. And one thing that you definitely want to take into consideration is scouting the outside of those bases.
Scout all day.
Because that cheese itself would have never have happened if you would have just seen it.
Absolutely. Be very, very aware of those map locations.
And the fiery gates of hell.
Yes.
Okay, guys. Well, this is Maximus Black.
And Nova War.
Hope you enjoyed. Comment, rate, subscribe, and we'll see you guys pretty damn soon.
See you, bye.
Peace out.